Hi, everyone, and welcome to Voices Across Borders, brought to you by Multicultural Talent Network. I'm Mina Kim Muk. In this podcast, we go beyond the resume to share real stories from professionals navigating life and career across borders. You will also hear from researchers as well as solo episodes where I dive into key topics shaping the global professionals. I hope you will find insight, connection, and maybe even a little encouragement along the way. Today we are joined by Fumi Sugeno, the head of the Social Innovation and Investment Foundation. This organization works to create a more sustainable and inclusive society in Japan and beyond through impact investing. Fumi has built a cross-border careers in the NGO and nonprofit sector, and she's currently based in the US, where she leads her team in Japan remotely. In our conversation, we explore what inspired her to live and work across different countries, how she has navigated cultural and workplace differences, and the unique challenges and rewards of leading a global team. Hi, Humi. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Mina. I was really looking forward to our conversation.
We have known each other for a very long time, but I like to, I like
Also,
to.
we don't want to disclose how long.
um, but I like to start with your global path. So, your first job after grad
Mhm.
school brought you to China, and since then, you've worked in Japan and now in the States. What drew
Mhm.
you to building a career across borders? And looking back at your NGO and nonprofit experiences in China, what felt most different about working in China compared to Japan?
About what drew me to work in different countries, I guess my upbringing influenced me. I mainly grew up in Japan, but because of my father's job, he's an academic, so he would take a sabbatical every 10 years. Then he intentionally choose to bring all the family members to spend a year abroad. I spent a year in Boston when I was 6 years old, and a year in Oxford when I was 17 years old. And even between that, I think my parents were pretty intentional about if there's any chance, they will send me to Australia for 3 weeks, asking family friends to be a host family so that I can go to school there for a little while, or bring me to the States for vacation and then go to school there a little while, things like that. I think they were very intentional about trying to give me opportunity to work globally. Also, combined with that, my passion by being exposed to different countries and also through family friends, I've known people who has international career. I really developed my interest and passion in international development, trying to make people's lives better in different countries. So I think that's the reason why. About China, a lot of people ask me what I felt different about working in China and Japan. But to be honest, when I was working in China, I never had that perspective or question inside me. I went to grad school without any job working experience. And then after that, I went to China to work in an international NGO. So I had nothing to compare. I've never worked in Japan before. But also, I think I was consciously or unconsciously trying not to bring any presumptions. Just work together with people there as human to human. And so I would not be comparing or benchmarking with any.
That's a good attitude to bring in to work
Uh,
for a company or a
but
different
but I did
organization.
have experiences when I learned in a hard way that, ooh, I didn't know this like local system that exists that I have to respect.
Mm.
Working in China, you have to really be aware of the government relationship and how the society works. I was still very young, so everybody
Mm-hmm.
took care of me. They would tell me it doesn't matter what happened between Japan and China in the past. Here as humans, and then we really respect you. I had many colleagues and partners would approach me in that way. So I wanted to do the same to them, but that means that there's a lot of complexity and subtlety behind the professional relationship that you have with that person. So just to be aware and mindful about that,
Mm.
that's what I was trying there.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight. Now you are with Social Innovation and Investment Foundations, SIIF, and focuses on something called impact investing. For anyone hearing that term for the first time, how do you explain it in everyday language? And what does your work look like on a daily basis?
Our foundation's name is really long. So it's difficult to pronounce it, but we call it SIIF, so
Oh, see.
SIIF. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
To make your life easier. It's a kind of unique foundation in Japan because it focuses on, it's not pure philanthropy like charity,
Mm-hmm.
giving grants. It does something called impact investing. And what impact investing in, tell me if I'm not using the common language, but um, it's about investing into businesses that make people's lives better or the
Mm.
planet more sustainable. That's how I would describe. So, for instance, we would invest in education technology company that provides coding education to young people, but coding as means so that they can tackle their own problems in their own community by making their own apps or using that to be creative and to develop their critical thinking. Because in Japan, a lot of young people are losing hope. They feel hopeless about making the society or the community a better place. So we invest in for that kind of company. I play multiple roles. One role is as an impact investor. So I'm partner of an impact venture capital fund in Japan, which means that our daily job will be supporting our investee companies to not only grow their business, but how can they really grow their impact that they're aiming to have. So to start with, like a lot of entrepreneurs, they have vision, but not necessarily they have articulated what that really looks like. So the first step will be supporting them to identify what their impact goals are. What would make you happy in certain time frame? What kind of changes for whom do you want to see? So that they can embed in their business model and business strategy about the steps that they need to take to impact their stakeholders. Then we also do a lot of support in terms of how you measure that impact and how do you communicate with investors. Investors would also understand the real value of the business so other investors can support the business as well. I also do advising to other financial institutions, and a lot of my chunk of my work is what we call ecosystem builder. We do a lot of convening, like gather people from financial sector or business sector, government, and then have the work towards the common goal of how we can promote impact investing in Japan or how we can promote impact business in Japan, how can we work together cross sectors, private sector, public sector, nonprofit, for profit? And then recently it's been a lot of work trying to build global partnerships. So how can we build work together between not only SIIF and overseas organizations, but our stakeholders in Japan and overseas organizations to do co-investment or business development or knowledge sharing things like that.
Actually, I have a follow-up questions. When you work with partner internationally, globally, how do you usually build trust and collaborations? And do you find yourself adjusting your working style when working with Japanese organization versus non-Japanese partners?
Yes. I think Japan is more about working as a team, working as an organization, and generally speaking, it depends on country to country, but generally speaking, US especially, but to some extent Europe is more about you as an
Mhm.
individual. I try to navigate between those two kind of mindset. If I'm too me in Japan, it's really not good.
Right, right.
But if I'm like no me in US or Europe, they'll be like, what's your view? What's your opinion? What do you want to do?
Right,
Can you make the
right,
decision?
right.
So, like, even really small things like writing an email,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm really conscious about using the right word we or I.
I see.
In Japanese, you don't even say we or I. There's
Right, right,
subject.
right, right. There's no subject. Yeah. So that can be quite complicated. I think it's just so fundamentally embedded in a working culture. Approach is very different, just the way they just talk, having meeting
Yeah,
and present themselves. So yeah,
yeah.
thanks for sharing. This could be more personal questions, but you are leading a team in Japan while you're living in the States, which means some late night or early morning meetings or calls. As more people work like this across borders, what do you think would help make this kind of setup healthier and more sustainable?
This is the most challenging thing, like overcoming time difference is the most challenging thing, and I still struggle a lot.
Do you have a lot of late calls, like after 11 or?
Yeah, so my situation might be a little bit unique because I am working still for Japanese organization and from United States.
Mhm.
I'm the only one who's working from outside from Japan.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that's the hard thing. And so I have calls usually from 9 a.m. Japan time, 6 p.m. here
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago. And then I try to put like hard stop in terms of calls
Mm-hmm.
at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So I block my calendar.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
But
idea. No,
yes,
really. I feel like if I work late, then my brain is still working. It's harder to fall
exactly.
asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So and everybody else is working that hour. So
Mm.
even if I finish my call, I'll be having,
Mm.
messages and emails, and there'll be infinite things to follow up.
Mm.
So really have to discipline that we will just stop working,
Mm. Oh,
take
yeah.
time to wind down, to fall
Right.
asleep.
Right.
Yeah, but it's really hard. And then the thing is, because I also have calls with Europe, sometimes if you have calls with three continents together,
Oh, yeah. That's
US, Japan,
impossible.
yeah, it's
I
very
know.
early morning. I
Yeah.
don't have enough sleep in between. When I moved here, I had discussion with my organization foundation so that a lot of Japan-based operation, I don't need to follow up, obviously. My colleagues are doing a great job doing the management that it needs to happen in Japan. Then maybe to have like a support team in terms of doing more back office, middle office. And then I'm not totally great at it yet, but utilizing all sorts of different tools, AI and things like that to really make it efficient as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible. But also, like in the future, I would really like to build more global team so that right now the challenge is that I'm the only person who's
Mm-hmm.
outside from Japan. I feel like me versus them.
Right. You're right, because you need allies able to complain together. This is not working.
Yeah, so even like a small thing, setting up a meeting, I think you can tell the difference between people's like how aware they are in terms of global setting.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Japan, a lot of the people still haven't been exposed to that kind of situation in the past.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Hopefully, we all find a way to make things a little bit easier. If listener want to learn more about you and simply just get in touch with you, what would be the best way to reach you?
Yeah, find me in LinkedIn. You can send an email to through our foundation's website, but
Okay.
I think finding me in LinkedIn.
Okay. It's Fumisugeno, right? So Fumi
Yeah,
Sugeno. Right.
yeah,
Okay.
and yeah,
Okay.
just text me.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mina.
If you're interested in reaching out to us, you can contact us at Multicultural Talent Networks or Mina Kim Mok, MINAKIMMOK through LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening.